separate the mortgage from the promissory note. They keep the promissory note and sell the mortgage. And the average person sees it going on and don't know what's happening. It's just, oh, they wrote me and there's another carrier for my mortgage and you still paying, and you, as a third party trustee.
Yeah.
And they were told it because you didn't claim
no
it.
contract with it.
Exactly! It's a fraud from the beginning.
They tell you that the private, they also tell you that the
Can't hear you.
private deed, like he said, take it
Mike.
and put it in a lodio, the private deed is more power than the public deed.
Now, this is what occurs. This is what occurs. Like for yourself. Now, what was you asking me? You was asking me something. Just why?
No, I'm good.
All right. What kind of time period are you dealing with? Are you against the wall? What are they saying to you?
Get out. They says like, they did an ultimatum, they just sent a letter saying that,
A 192?
no, a letter saying that, you have to, but you got a certain amount of time.
Well, it's a 192 basically. See, all right, now. Do you know what a reversion of the state is? I wish we had more time, but write this down. Do this.
Yeah. But you did. You did.
Yeah. I hate this.
Yeah,
You know.
I know.
Um,
We've been here a lot of times.
Right.
people get pushed against the wall.
And I talk about when I'm with you,
Straight out 160.
and I ain't talking about the time when I went around,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Do you know the reconveyances? No, don't guess. Do you know what a reconveyance is?
Terms of the Strasburg Road.
When they try to bring a third party.
Now, I want you to listen to yourself while you're talking. Now, I want you all to listen to him while he's talking. Now, listen to yourself, and I want everybody to listen to you while you're talking. Now, put yourself in the position of an heir to the estate, and recognize at any point that you sound unsure, make unsure statements, make any statement that's not on point, and by law, you're automatically declared incompetent. At which time your argument is already lost. Are we clear?
So I would need more time.
No, so I'm telling, this is why that's why I'm asking you direct questions and telling you already. If you know the answer, say it. If you don't start picking with straws. Don't start giving guess answers, because if you start that, you're already in trouble. Are we clear? Because you're dealing with a state. Don't think that you're dealing with money, and you're not dealing with payments. Anything that you've given in the name of payments that you thought was payments is called D-donus. Write that down. D-E, one word. Donus, second word. D-O-N-I-S. And I suggest that you look on any instruments that they've given you, and you'll probably find it there. That means everything that you've transferred them in the name of payment has been accepted as a gift, because that's what it was. Because it wasn't payment. Of course, you were deceived into thinking that it was payments. And then when you fail to make payment, that the foreclosure comes about. That's what they make you think. It was foreclosed after the 72 hours after you signed that signature and you didn't claim it and put it in trust or estate. You got to claim the deed and convert it. But they're not telling you that. So you've already been listed as having abandoned the estate. And this was called when they threaten letters and they talk about selling the deed of trust. Because the deed is based on a trust position. Therefore, they have assigned themselves as both the trustee and the beneficiary by default. And you're declared a beneficiary with the obligation but incompetent and in a state of abandonment, and you've left that estate burden on them. And therefore, by default, they escheat the estate. That's exactly how it works, exactly what I'm telling you.
Yes. Wow.
And then what they do, they sell the trust position on the market, and they sell the promissory note, which they kept. But what you need to do and recognize, as if I were talking to you right now, to keep it simple, I would suggest, listen to what I'm getting ready to say to you, and absorb what I'm trying to say to you, and pay close attention. You're dealing with trust, not money, so stop talking money, all right? All right. Number two, you're talking with an estate. Are we clear? You've been already charged with abandonment of the estate, and by default, they're claiming the estate on the principle of default. Are we clear? Although it was done within 72 hours after whatever initiated this action with you, not the so-called foreclosure. When you thought you were safe, it was already foreclosed. They just didn't expose it. They were waiting for opportune time, all right, for another share property. Meaning that when they can't drain no more from you, then they pull in the share property agreement. And you think in payments, and they're talking abandonment. It is not even dawning on you that that's what's happening. So any argument you make about money, you're already incompetent. As soon as you start talking money and payment, you're incompetent. But that's how most people would talk, wouldn't they?
Thank
So you wouldn't be thinking about talking to state, would you?
you. No.
Well, now you are. Do you understand? Now, so what you want to do is, what's happening with them is that they're going to sell the deed of trust to your estate, waiting for you to speak up on the estate. And they're going to give you time. They're going to send you some 192s. 192s is where they threaten to sell the deed of trust, which is the trustee position. Right? Meanwhile, they'll be taking everything you give them as a gift, because it is a gift, because it's not payment. All right? And see what they can do with you. See how much they can extract from you. How much you can borrow from your families to try to save it, which of course will be futile. I don't care what you do, it's still going to be futile. And then they'll come in and crash you and take it, and throw you off the plot.
Literally.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, the deed, which is a feudal instrument, all right, is distinguished from an allodial title, which you would have if you was in your proper person. And that construct took place with the symboliographers in 19 and 13 as a countermeasure to Nouveau Droit with the restoration of your estate. And this is what was done by Woodrow Wilson when he met with representatives of the popes of Rome under Unum Sanctum at Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia, to not only transfer the estates, but to sell the government. Yeah, that's what that's all about. That's what that's all about. Now, and so from 1913 on, all allodial titles were converted secretly into deeds, which have nothing to do with you owning a damn thing.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Now, logically, these people don't know that they're not Smith, Jones, and Johnson, although they know they're not Smith, Jones, and Johnson. That's my grandma's name. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. My grandma's a Christian, a good Christian, and she prayed. You're not Christian, and that's not your name. You know, I'm talking about what happens to us, and our people really don't understand.
Exactly.
You know, they are chattel property. And everything they buy or sell with the mark or the number of that name belongs to Rome. That's the hypothecation that's talked about in House Joint Resolution 192 that got Trump killed when he exposed it. Because remember, all persons in politics are Masons or Knights Templars, or, do you understand? Or Knights of Malta or Knights of Columbus. You don't get in that position without being it. So he already knows the real history. So whatever inspired him morally and ethically to tell on part of the system got him killed. Do you understand? Because they all know, number one, in secret, they got a Moorish fez, all of them. Shriners, all of them, while they pretended they don't know who the Moors are, they got Moorish fezzes, except they pin the tassels down. Then they take oaths to Rome not to reveal the secrets. That's what's called the Masonic secret. And who is the Masonic secret? You are. You understand? Well, let's cut through the chase, and just don't try to write it down, absorb what I'm saying to you. You can do a handwritten letter, and I suggest that you have at least a trinity of signatures, do things all in trinity principle, means have 2 witnesses. And you're in trouble that you're not national because you have no standing in law. However, you'll force them to admit to slavery, do you understand? Which will get you time, will buy you time. Don't leave the property, no matter what they say. Do you understand? So get that in your head right now. Don't care what they send you, don't leave. All right? Now, you're going to write a letter, say, I have not abandoned my, who's the carrier? Right? This is what you want to do. Whoever you're communicating with, don't ever refer to the bank or to the loan company or to the law office. Always refer to a living person doing business as that corporate entity. If you put the corpse in front, you just let them off the hook. Are we clear? So say somebody sent you a letter. If they sent you any letters in the mail and it has that Pitney Bowes stamp on it, that red thing, that's mail fraud. If it doesn't have a physical United States stamp, you know, that type, it's fraud. If they're talking about estate transfer of finances in any kind of form, any abrogation of liberty, and they send any instruments through the mail threatening life, property, or liberties, and it's got a Pitney Bowes on that envelope, it's mail fraud. All right? So you're going to be talking about the general post of the post office. Right? Now, you're going to write a letter and have to find a name, you know what I mean? And say, Mr. So-and-so, Bas Notzendorf Dinkle Stinker, doing business as such and such mortgage company, blah, 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 who have been acting as de facto trustees against the interest of my estate under the transmitting utility estate name, and then you name that name that you claim that was yours, that's not yours, in all capital letters, and in the small letters, exclamation. Then I, the living, breathing, sentient man, and rightful heir to the estate, etc. State for the record, I have not abandoned my estate. I never did intend to abandon my estate. Any assumption on the part of yourself or anyone else that there's a condition of abandonment in relationship to my private estate, any implication, association, assumption is void. I, the heir to the estate, am claiming right of claim to my estate and all allodial rights and accoutrements to all of my inheritances. Are we clear? On the jurisdiction of the land of my forefathers. Are we clear? What I want you all to do is stop harassing me in the mail, and I want you to give me an accounting for all finances that have been transferred in the name of my estate from the initiation of this alleged debt loan that's implied wrongfully by such instruments that were sent to me on such and such a date, and it listed the number of this and such a date, signed by such and such a person, living man or woman. Then note the instruments that they sent to you that have no signature, which is a fraudulent instrument. And then tell them to send you all monies and all accounting of all transactions at all times up to the present date. Meanwhile, you're going to do a quick claim, whatever, on that venue of the quick claim deed, and then convert it into and allodial title of your estate. And so what you want to do is create a trust and estate. Of course, you want to do it in your proper person so you have standing. What it forces them to do is to release their argument, step off, or either admit that they're maintaining slavery. And on top of that, then you can use the motu proprio from Pope Francis, telling them to stand down, and then you can sue them as individuals. Also, you can ask them for their, which is a standard. Let's talk, this is standard. Command them to produce their bond and their charter to do business at Morocco on your land.
I love that. I love that.
And then tell them failure to produce it not only is proof that they're committing fraud and extortion, but they have no business doing business at Morocco. And if they're confused, ask their local archbishop, and he will inform them of the motu proprio. And meanwhile, while you're at it, send me the checks for the lawful United States money, Article 1, Section 10, that you've been benefiting, and send back everything that I've given you in those instruments that you've been using for bookkeeping, called private commercial instruments that you've been falsely calling a dollar, because you know they ain't a dollar, and they've been liens against my estate. Send that back to me while you're at it. I'm looking forward to within 10 days. Within 10 days, if it's not forwarded, let's start talking about suit. And then watch their whole attitude change. So just kind of absorb what I said to you, put it together however you feel. About 1 o'clock, 2:30 tonight, just go to bed on it. You know what I mean? Just think about it. And then formulate, and then go ahead and write a note, and have witnesses on, send it in the mail, put a stamp on it. Don't let them put no Pitney Bowes on it. You go buy stamps and put it on. And then you do a CC of it to the Provost Marshal, to the Attorney General, because the Attorney General is the comptroller of alien properties. And he's the one who's been holding the booty and prize under admiralty jurisdiction. And so you can see that the Pope is neutralizing them now. But you do that because now you have an instrument. Anytime they come at you in the future, the major thing that you're demonstrating for the public record that you did not abandon your estate. If you go to any so-called public record and do some research in any of these counties, you'll not find that 99% of all foreclosures will have listed on them abandonment. So go look up abandonment also in your Black's Law, 4th edition and earlier, and you'll find that it's talking about estates and rights. They're all equals. So status and estate are equals. So that will give you time to study. So that's the advice I would give you right now, because you're not grounded yet, but if you absorb what I just told you, you'll put a crimp, big time crimp, in any process that's going on right now. You'll create such liability for them that they're going to come back at you, but later. And they got other pressures on them right now, and don't leave. And then meanwhile, study sincerely. And we'll talk to you more on those things later as you get some more background. But that's to give you time.
This name could be like, cause you know, they have real good giving names, they'll just say from this group or this.
And this is the other thing that you want to do. Get away from
Yeah,
today
I'm still making it.
and talk names. You don't talk corporation, talk names. Gather them, talk names.
Constitution.
Talk names.
Pocket.
Get away from talking. Well, the bank said, the bank didn't say nothing, can't talk. Freddie Jones said. Who is Freddie Jones? What position does he have? Does he have a charter or bond? To do business at Morocco, he's got it. Did you ask for it?
Always carry
That's
it.
what you should be asking for.
Always carry
This
it.
is the other thing that you need to know. And this is the ultimate saving grace on any foreclosure. Command that they produce, that whoever has trying to make a claim, right? Under whatever law firm, bank, whatever, whoever it is, command the magistrate for them to prove that they've introduced to this court the original mortgage and promissory note attached to each other and never separated the whole time of the dispensation of the claim that they're making for the loan. If it was ever separated, their argument is dead. And the magistrate knows that, but they expect that you didn't know that.
Okay.
And I guarantee you they were separated. That's your argument. You establish that alone, you've already won. Now the deal with is, have you claimed the estate? And are you your proper person? Because you can't claim that estate until you claim that estate. This is where man know thyself. Because a person who is in dead status, that's why these people are declared dead. All of them are declared dead. Most of them are, because they claim to be Smith, Jones, and Johnson. So in law, they're dead. And so they're controlling, this is why they can make themselves by default the beneficiary. See, because in trust law, you can't be the trustee and the beneficiary both. This is why they also, to get themselves off the hook after 72 hours, always assign a third-party trustee to start muddying the water, to protect themselves from future suit if people figure this thing out. Because it's a fraud from the beginning. But the greater fraud is that people don't know that you have to, if you don't claim your estate, you've abandoned it. And the first part of your estate is what? Your attribute that you've called named. Because if you start off in dishonor, you remain in dishonor, and that's called a colored person. So if you have a person of Asiatic African descent, claim to be Smith, Jones, and Johnson, in law they're a colored person. And a colored person is simulacrum as distinguished from that which is real. So do fake people have human rights?
No,
Huh?
no,
Well, guess what happened if you're a person of color?
fake.
That's why they put the brands on our people. You understand? So you got to understand how things work legally and lawfully, and know the distinction between legal and lawful. So I'm saying what I was saying to you, because conceptually, it's enough for you to start putting brakes on whatever process that they have. It starts demonstrating that you have some competence. Are we clear? And it demonstrates that you haven't abandoned your estate, which is the major trick they use against everybody. No matter what their argument, their ultimate argument that they never present to you is that you've abandoned your estate. Think like that and don't do it, and make it known that that's not what you're doing, and you're already messing up whatever they're planning. Now, all the refined arguments, all the rest of the arguments, you can make them later if you want to, but that's your main argument, that you have not abandoned your estate. Talk about estate, not money, because you ain't, even if you gave them a pile of Federal Reserve notes like this, right? Less or more, thinking you paid off. It ain't paid off. It's a gift. And the debt is still against your estate. This is why the Pope is saying any alleged debt that they said in your name, because they're working that ens legis, that transmitting utility, in a name that sounds like yours but isn't. And he says what? Imaginary. It don't exist. That's their debt, not yours. Are we clear?
That person for that too, right?
There you go. And see, and the big trick that they got on our people is to make them think they were Christians and think it was a spiritual system. But you see, he's talking about what? Christian countries. It's politics. Ain't got nothing to do with spirituality. So as you can see, every Sunday our people are even funding their own enslavement and don't even know it. Has nothing to do with opinion. You understand what I'm saying to you? And they're worshiping Constantine, thinking they're worshiping Jesus. And the reverends is delivering them to the popes of Rome. They think he's submitting them to Jesus. Now you see why they, without conscience, be asking for $60 million planes and stuff at the expense of the poor. And these people think they're doing it for Jesus.
Yep.
And ignorance of the law is no excuse. Why? Because the law begins with you. And so if you don't know yourself, you automatically in law have no estate. It's just like right now, if in law, anywhere, right? If you're the trustee of an estate, and Fred is jumping up and down through the middle of the street, Van Dever, with Ronald McDonald shoes on, talking about
I'm the president of Russia. And Tuesday, I'm going over to Fred's house and eat me 5 peanut butter sandwiches because really, nobody has orange juice on Thursday.
You gonna transfer the state to them? So these people run around and call themselves Christians, Negro, black, and colored, and then they trying to use constitutional law for protection. It doesn't apply to them. See how simple that is? If you understand those principles and fundamental trust in the state law and argue and stay on point about the state, don't talk money because you're not allowed to handle money.
I definitely have that part.
Well, if you got that part, you got an argument. Put it in writing. All right? We'll say peace, you all.
Islam.
With the